Hey, Magnus here, and today we're going to talk about the 5 things that photography taught me for recording video. Now, these things are 5 particular kind of like rules or lessons or settings that helped me in my video when it came to recording videos on DSLRs and even professional video cameras. So these 5 lessons are pretty cool. Let me show you. Behind you with like the clouds, the sky and everything, and still be able to see. We've got the Rode Video Mic. Here we go. M50. What do you guys think? So I started recording this video while I was walking, and I didn't have the microphone on for the intro, but I was going out and spending the day pretty much outside. It was sunny and it was a nice day, and thankfully I was off. So let me start with number 5 while I was in a restaurant. Check it out. And number 5 on this whole list, as I eat breakfast, is learning the triangle of light. So ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. I had no idea when I was using the Canon X-A10 a while ago, I would have the 3 settings available on that camera, but I didn't know because the camera was pretty automatic when it came to everything, so and it would auto adjust the gain as necessary. And it was such a small sensor that the shutter was almost always open all the time, or the iris, as they call it. But then when I got my camera, I quickly had to learn on all of those manual settings and the effect that they had on your film. So that's number 5. Now to number 4. Here we go. So, anyway, next subject, and this is number 4. When you take a photo, you want to make sure you get the right framing and you have exactly what you want in the photo. See, I can't figure out whether I'm in the right framing or whatever, but it's so important. Even I pay attention to where my lens is I don't have a flip screen, so I pay attention to where my lens is and how it's looking at me. And then I kind of go from there. You want to get the exact framing before you actually take the video, and that's what it teaches you. Number 3 is white balance. Now, white balance is so important when you're doing video. White balance, it's kind of make or break it. With photos, because you take raw photos, you can actually adjust that in post pretty well. But you still want to get the right white balance when you're actually recording video, and even when you're taking photos, especially if you just want to output it in JPEG real quick. Being able to do that and learn how to get proper white balance in video first by learning it in photos is something that I learned while taking photos. So moving on to number 2. I'm just traveling everywhere today. There happens to be a plane flying overhead. So what is number 2? I'm back home, by the way, so I'll probably be in the studio when I finally get to number 1. It's been a heck of a day, but what is number 2? Number 2 is storytelling. Now, storytelling happens in photography when you're trying to tell people what to look at, what art you're trying to tell, and what story you're trying to tell in the actual framing and the actual photo that you take. And that has everything to do with almost the entire construction of the photo. Now, you got to do that to the 10th degree when you're telling a story through film. Whether you want people to laugh, cry, go through a range of emotions, mixed emotions, where they're feeling action, they're feeling stressed out, and they're feeling at the same time, happy feelings and everything else in between. So that in itself is one of the greatest qualities that you can tell by a photo, and it's very difficult to tell a story with just one photo. And it could be so many levels deep within. And to have that kind of like several layers to storytelling in every visual shot that you do as a filmmaker is something that photography really helped out with. Now let's go to number 1. Back to the studio, hopefully. Back at the studio, and up to the number 1 thing that I learned from cameras that made me better at video. And first of all, let me just tell you guys that this list is just my own opinion. If you've got another top 5 list, if you don't agree with me at all, just leave it in the comments down below. Totally cool. But the number 1 thing that I learned was, as silly as this is, it's the importance of different lenses and focal lengths and aperture and quality. Now, we all know that glass is important, and the type of glass that you have will determine if how good your video or picture looks when you take that picture. Because if you have a bad set of glass in front of you and that's what's going to the sensor to record what you're recording, then it'll just destroy everything that you've got. So make sure that glass is good quality, but also that you have the right focal length and what the focal lengths do when they compress your shot or expand your shot, depending on what type of millimeter lens it is, whether it's a wide aperture or a really good telephoto. So that's it. That's what I learned off of photography for video. So let me know what you guys think and what you learned when recording video in the comments down below. As always, let's keep growing this community. Like, share, and as always, you can make my day if you subscribe today. This is Magnus, and I'm out. See you guys later.